Catch Texas in Color every Wednesday morning at 11 a.m. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Good evening, everybody. I'm Ronald Gordon with Texas in Color. And I have Zebrina Robertson here. She did a segment with me on voting a while back, and that video just it's so close to being viral. And a lot of people were really listening to what we had to say about voting, what your rights were. And a lot of people didn't know that. And I thought that was something else. So I looked at it. So I got in contact with Zebrina and said, we need to do another show. We need to do another one. So we talk about voting again. And we all know they're trying to sabotage everything. And the deal that happened in Tarrant County when they turned around and moved the ballot boxes out of the colleges, and they had to drive 20 minutes to get somewhere. Well, so I think what I read right, Sabrina, that was overturned and it's going to stay inside those colleges in Tarrant County.
That is correct. That was voted on during the commissioners' court meeting. And so they were able to keep those polling stations at the colleges and universities in Tarrant County, which is great because that is helping the students not being hindered from exercising their opportunity to vote. So that was very good. We're very proud of that.
I'm good with that too, because I was shocked when I heard that. They wait till you go away, then vote. Come on, what is the problem? And the problem, they're scared. That's one thing, because a young person told me the other day, they said, Ron, I hear you talking, but they need to be scared of one other group. I said, what's that? Generation Z. Because we are tired of this going on. And I'm telling everybody to go out and vote. And thank you for Texas in Color, because that's what we needed. The information is getting out there. And I said, well, thank you. I said, I'm not doing it by myself. There's people behind the scenes that is helping out. And I started naming the people. I didn't give last names. I just named the people. And I said, they're all behind the scenes. They're helping me out to make sure we get the word out. So Generation Z is sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Absolutely. And historically, they do not, or people do not want to see young people vote because a lot of times they are more progressive and forward thinkers. So if you are hindering them from voting, sometimes they won't proceed forward. Like, for instance, they're trying to remove the polling stations from the colleges, which is unfortunate because, you got students that are looking to further their education for they'll be able to have a career for they, sustain themselves and be self-sufficient. And you're expecting them to travel 25 miles because the law says you can move a polling location 25 miles from their precinct. But if you're a student, those students may not have transportation. They may not have the time to go across town because they have finals, they have classes, or even have to work because they have to pay for school. So they may skip voting because they do not have the time to be able to go vote. So this was a really good win for our young people to be able to exercise their opportunity to vote. So very proud of the commission in Tarrant County to be able to keep them polling locations there.
Yeah, that's good. Another thing that's going on with the registration for voting is I talked to some people and they're saying that some are being removed even after that mass deal came up. TD Jake was removed from it. And he was shocked that he had to go back and do everything all over again. So we got people out there now that's checking it almost every day to make sure they're still on there. But what I will explain this to them. I said, okay, if you find out you're not on there, they cannot turn your way. You could still vote, but it'll be a provisional ballot. They said, what's the provisional ballot? And I explained to them exactly what it was and that everybody could vote. But your ballot is the last one they count because they got to verify everything. Oh, so you mean that a couple of times I didn't vote, I could have? I said, exactly. And so that's one thing people are confused on about the provisional ballot. And maybe you could explain it better than I did.
So with your provisional ballots, sometimes the election judge or election clerk may not offer that to you. And they will just say, well, you're not on the voter roll. I don't see you listed. You can't vote. You could request a provisional ballot. And with that provisional ballot, you'll still be able to vote, but you would have to do what they call hear your vote. So on that provisional ballot, it will say the name doesn't match the voter registration with the ID that was presented, or it's showing that this person is in a suspense status and the voter is saying, well, no, my voter registration is good. So it would indicate what the issue is, and then it would give the voter an opportunity to correct or to present information to say why they are eligible to vote. So, like I said, let's say, let's use you for example. So you go in and say, my name is Ronald Gordon, and on the voter roll, they spell your name different. So instead of putting a D-O-N, they put a D-A-N. And some people might think that might be just a clerical error, and it's okay because all of your other information match. But you may have an election judge or even a clerk that's a little stickler to say, well, this isn't exact. So you would need to provide information to show you are who you are. So you would need to go to either your election administrator, your county clerk, to present whatever information that they ask to make sure your ballot will be valid to be counted for that election.
Okay. So they can still vote, but they got to show that information, I guess, the day after.
Well, they give you 5 days.
Okay.
So if I went in today for early voting and they will give me until next Friday, because they don't vote on the weekends, to bring whatever information that I need for the reason why I needed to receive a provisional ballot.
Okay. Let's go on the lawsuit that Kim Paston tried to do for Harris County, Bear County, for them sending out information. And he only picked a couple of counties. Well, we know the reason why, because they're Democratic counties. And he
Well,
picked those, but everybody else is doing the same thing throughout the county. And I didn't get it. And who was our district attorney here? Sat in the courthouse all day waiting for somebody from Kim Paxton's office to show up for the lawsuit, and nobody never showed up. Now, was that grandstanding?
yes. So you have to understand the counties that you see in the news are very large, populated, minority-based Democratic counties. So when you are wanting to make a statement, you go after the big boys, right?
Yeah.
So it is a way of intimidating voters. It is a way of suppressing voters. And then you are questioning the integrity of that county's election administrators' ability to run a fair, accurate election. So you are initially stating the integrity of that office is in question, right? And all you need is to have those accusations. And then you'll have people believing this information is factual because this is coming from one of our elected officials. This gentleman has a degree in law. He is an attorney general. So if he says there is voter fraud, voter harvesting, people will believe that because he said it out loud and in the news. And then he is also filing lawsuits stating the same thing. And so people will assume there must be something there because he has filed a lawsuit. So perception is everything.
Yeah.
And he's And he's going after these large counties that has a large population of elected Democratic officials to again question the integrity of these individuals as well. So let's not be deceived. This is strategic in what he's doing. Even though with the 2020 election, there was proof throughout several states there was no voter fraud, there was no voter harvesting, but yet and still, that is the lie they are creating and still saying to make people think and believe that type of things is going on.
Yeah. So what he was trying to stop is the absentee ballots going out, from what I gather. And it goes out to people, if it's over 65, do they get an absentee ballot or do you have to request it?
Well, you have to request it. The law changed with SB1. Initially, you had entities that would send individuals who were over the age of 65. Those mail-in ballots is what we call them. And to help individuals who were shut in, homebound, physically disabled to where it was a hinder for them to get out or even had the ability to go to the polls. So they was able to, do their ballot at home and then just mail that back in. There is some provisions for individuals if they are not 65 but maybe disabled, or for our military who is maybe stationed, outside of their resident county or overseas. They're still able to vote if they do request an absentee ballot. And so that is something that they're trying to weaponize against people and try to project that there is voter fraud with these mail-in ballots. So again, it's just a projection of lies to say we shouldn't offer these things to people, because a lot of times people that's utilizing these are people of color and that are Democratic voters. And not to say that no other party or entities use these or utilize these, but they do target provisions for minorities and people of color to make it more accessible for them to be able to cast their votes.
Okay, what happened if somebody got an absentee ballot, and they forgot it at home and they came to come vote? How does that work?
So they would have to sign a form, because honestly, when you request an absentee ballot or a mail-in ballot, same thing, you are supposed to bring that ballot in if you decided that you want to vote in person. And you would turn that in, and what they would do, they will spoil that ballot to make that ballot invalid so it couldn't be cast twice. And then they would give you a physical ballot at the polling center or precinct, depending on the size of your county, and then you'll be able to cast your vote that way. And then the election judge would then document that this particular voter came in, surrendered their mail-in or absentee ballot, and then was provided a regular ballot for them to cast their vote.
Okay, which brings my next question. What about the people who are in jail? Not convicted of anything, they so happen to be in jail on election day. What rights do they have to vote? I know they can't release them to go vote because they may not come back, but what rights do they have?
So if you have not been convicted of a felony charge, you are still eligible to vote. So with people that are incarcerated, that are still awaiting trial, that has not been formally convicted, who is not restitutions or any restitutions, any fines, or on supervision, anything like that, you are still able to vote. Now, if you're incarcerated, you would have to request an absentee ballot to vote unless your county has provided a polling center in the jail for you to cast your vote. But a lot of counties do not offer that. There is a few in Texas. I want to say Harris County, maybe Fort Bend. Those are a couple that has some polling centers inside of the jail. Otherwise, they would have to request an absentee ballot to vote.
Okay. Which goes for swing the question to disabled.
Okay.
So you pull up to the polling place and they're unable to come out the vehicle to go vote. I know we could bring you a portable unit out there to vote. And if there's a person helping a disabled person to vote, they must be sworn in too. Is that right?
That is correct. So your election judge will be administrating those types of situations. Now, there also is opportunities to my county, which is Bowie County, which is in East Texas. Our election administrator had a drive up option to where they have a designated phone number to where you could call into the office and say, hey, I'm here to cast my vote. I need someone to come outside, or whatever the verbiage is. And they would then come out to assist the voter in casting their vote. But at regular precincts or polling stations, the election judge will come out to the car with a clipboard, with the ballot for that particular voter, and read the ballot to them and ask them how they would like to cast their vote. And sign, swearing, an oath of, integrity, and then having that voter sign as well, saying this is what they're opting to do, and having that election judge to be able to facilitate them in casting their.
Okay. Disabled coming in to vote, let's say hearing impaired. I do know that we keep a couple of those machines on the end. We don't put them in the middle. We keep them on the end. So we got the headphones and everything right there for them. Somebody, not in my precinct, made a great big stink about it because it wasn't one there. And
Mhm.
they looked up, it was one there. Matter of fact, it was two of them there. So I don't know if that person's made that big scene just to say something, but I am sure that most polling places will have those one or two machines in there.
They are required, to be ADA compliant, they are required to have at least one in every polling center or precinct. They have to have at least one. Otherwise, they will be not in compliance for ADA. So if there was not one there, they should have called their election administrator and filed a complaint.
Yeah.
And if that wasn't addressed, they should have took it all the way up to the Texas Secretary of State.
And speaking about Secretary of State, this happened to me on the last major election. Um, I'm sitting in there, here comes this person inside there, and they're looking around and didn't get in line. So me being nosy, I went to ask, I said, may I help you with anything? Yeah, I'm from the Secretary of State. We're coming to make sure everything is in order. And she broke down and she walked through the whole place, checked everything. She did with a fine-tooth comb. I said, how we do? I can't really tell you. And
Well,
which she was proud. I just wanted to know how we do. But later on, I found out we everything went through with flying colors. We didn't do anything wrong. Everything was in place. The 100-yard marker sign was out. I mean, they checked everything. Now, the 4 years I have been election judge, that is the first time I had somebody from the Secretary of State come down.
now they don't
share that information with you, but you best believe your bottom dollar, they had a conversation with that election administrator to
Yeah.
make sure they dotted their I's and crossed their T's. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I believe that because they told us we did good. They sent us an email saying that so and so came to come visit y'all and everything was okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. Because I tell people you have nothing to worry about if you're doing your job.
Correct.
If
And
you,
so, and and it's a check and balance. So the Secretary of State offered training to have people informed and educated on how to run a proper, efficient, accurate, and fair election. And so the election administrator is supposed to make sure the same thing. So in some instances, they will come out to certain counties. And I don't know if Bear County has always had maybe a county-wide polling stations, or if they just converted over. Because, like for instance, in my county, we just started county-wide voting in 2023. Matter of fact, it's only been a year. Otherwise, we had precinct voting, right?
right,
So once you get approved to do county-wide, they do kind of like a fact check. They want to make sure that everything is up and going, running properly. There's no hiccups. There is no, I'm gonna say discrimination, no hindrance for voters, but then also making sure that you have enough voters to sustain having county-wide voting as well. So if you have a decrease in voter turnout, you may lose that opportunity or that right to be able to vote anywhere in the county instead of to your designated precinct, which is a help for a lot of people. Because if I live across town or work across town and then trying to get back and forth before the polling location closed, I may miss out because traffic, I might have got off work late, and then I still have to drive across town. So they want to make sure that everything is feasible, that you are adhering to the laws in reference to having polling locations no more than 25 miles from their precinct.
yeah,
Because as you mentioned before, how people have to drive across town and people think that's unfair. But if it's within that 25 miles, they're within the law.
right.
So we have to also be mindful of that.
Well, Bear County is countywide now. That helps out a lot because I remember one election, this guy was coming from Corpus. He flew all the way up here to vote. I said, "You can vote at any county, any precinct. You didn't know that?" He said, "No, I didn't know that." So that's a part of educating the voters because when that happens, I don't even recall on the news that came out. It's almost like, maybe we'll tell them, maybe we won't, but they did. So, I wish the whole state of Texas was like that, where it won't be a problem at all.
That's interesting because, like, for instance, our election administrator, I mean, he put ad in all of the local newspapers in the county, all of the radio stations. He got with the NAACP to make sure we was aware, and he always keep us abreast of what's going on, keeping us informed. And he send out periodicals in any and every way to make sure people are aware that we do early voting, where the polling locations are. And he tried to make them, like, for instance, if a polling center does not have a certain amount of voters, they can combine that with another center
Right,
as long as it adhere to that 25 miles, right? And then if you have a polling center that has more than 500 voters, you have to break it up and have another polling site. So he keeps up with that, and he makes sure that is very well known of any changes from one location to another, because we are a creature of habit. So we may keep going to this one spot because I've been going there for years. My mama been going there, my daddy and them, or what have you. But our election administrator, at least, try to make sure people are aware that changes has occurred, and even putting notifications on that location to say, hey, you no longer vote here anymore. You need to go over here.
Right.
So it depends on who is in charge. So I hope that your election administrator will, maybe do a better job to make sure that that information is shared out with, the constituents.
I'd say everything's been smooth sailing now because the word is out, everything is getting out, so that's good. Which bring us to winding things down. Registration to vote. Since it ends on the weekend, they're extending it out to October 7th, if I'm right, to get everything in.
Correct.
Okay. And then early voting starts October 21st.
That is correct. So you have until October the 7th to register, but your voter registration form application need to be in the election administrator's office by 5 p.m. And that is to ensure that you will be eligible to vote.
Okay.
So you'll be in the system and you'll be able to receive your voter registration card. And we do ask that people keep that in their wallets. You're able to fold it up or cut it and fold it, and it's almost the exact same size as your driver's license. So you can stick it right in your wallet. And that is also a form of a state issue ID. So when you go places and they say, I need 2 forms of ID, we used to, show our social security card and our ID. A lot of people don't carry the social security card anymore. You could use your voter registration card as that second form of ID because it is state issue.
All right, that's good to know. Let me see. It was one other question I was going to ask you. See, I lost train of thought when you brought that up about the ID and everything. Oh, what was it? People gonna hit me for not remembering this. Anyway, it'll come to me after we're finished. Watch. Oh, I know what I want to bring up. Not with Texas. It was 2 incidents that I seen a video of. One of them, well, they didn't show the car with, I think it was in Montana. They had early voting going on, and Harris' name was left off the ballot. It was absentee, and her name was left off the ballot. Now, my deal is, don't you have people that proofread all that to make sure if it goes to the printer, everything is okay? So they had to stop what they were doing, recover all those ballots, and print up new ones and send it out. Now,
Well, I can't speak for Montana, but I can speak for the great state of Texas. So you have what is called an election committee that comprise of your Democratic chair, your Republican chair, your election administrator or election clerk, depending on the size of your county. And I don't know if I said county judge, and then maybe your county clerk, right? Where you're supposed to meet and discuss what's supposed to be transpiring for the election. And the election administrator is supposed to show you a sample ballot of your party to make sure that the names are listed on there, names are spelled correctly, the right office they're running for is on there before they are officially sent to print. So this won't happen. So someone dropped the ball in Montana.
yeah. All right, here's another one. This is a good one. A mayor, I think it was in Wisconsin. There was a drop box there for drop box there in front of the city hall.
Mhm.
The mayor decided to put on a hard hat, and it wasn't secured to the ground yet. He took it and moved it. And it was the clerk who said, or county clerk, whatever, was responsible for putting drop boxes in certain parts of the city. He decided he didn't want it there, took it and put it in his office. So the clerk turned around and said, that's okay. The same box y'all use to mail to send in your electric mail stuff, you could put it in there. Now, why did he move it? I don't know. But he decided he didn't want it there and he moved it. He should actually go to jail.
Now, because that's federal when you start playing with ballots.
Yeah.
So interested to follow that story to kind of find out because he had no authority to move that, because that comes from the commissioner's court. And again, I can only speak from Texas.
Right.
So how Wisconsin or Montana runs their elections, but in the great state of Texas, there's some stuff you don't fool with, and them ballots is one of them.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, those are some things that caught my attention. I said, you got to be kidding me. This is 2024, and
Well,
leave it alone.
if you've been paying attention, or if you get a moment to really kind of look up kind of what's going on in reference to people are registering to vote, people are checking their voter registration status, people are eager to participate in this election, we may see one of the biggest turnouts maybe in history. And it's not necessarily in the favor of who some or the powers that be want to see. And you're going to see different antics like that in reference to removing ballot boxes, leaving or withholding candidates' names off the ballot, hindering the process for early voting, and so on and so forth. Because, like, for instance, the people in Montana, so they're going to have to wait to get new ballots,
Yeah.
or they may have to redo their election,
Mm.
or they may be subjected to a lawsuit or a recount, which is going to cost the state money
Right.
that a lot of states do not have. But you're going to see a lot of different things. You're going to like what we see here in Texas with Ken Paxton with all these lawsuits. It is just appalling how they are abusing their authority and supposed to be representing the people, which they are not. And we'll see how things go moving forward.
Yeah, I'm looking forward for November 6th. Everybody say, what are you looking forward to that? All this be over with.
I know.
Let the dust settle, and we can see exactly how things went. I know how I
Exactly.
want it to go, but I'm just waiting for that to happen. And we're getting close. Was it 39 days now? I
And
think.
even with that, this has been a great opportunity because a lot of people are getting more involved, attempting to get more informed. This is something that shows us how we need to always engage with the community to educate, so they can be well informed to make educated and informed decisions for their own well-beings. And so I look forward to November 6th, regardless of the turnout or the outcome, because I see now that we have a need and we need to continue fulfilling that need for our people. And I
Yeah.
just want to thank you for allowing us to use your platform and birthing Texas in Color to give a place for Black politicians to have these conversations, because otherwise this information wouldn't be readily available to people and these conversations won't be had. So we just want to thank you for your hard work and diligence to make sure that people are informed and aware, and they have a place to find that information.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. You just don't know because I'm one of the people. See, the candidates we had on here, each time I listened to one, I learned something new, something I did not know about. And I'm learning it, and then I almost feel like I'm pretty smart now because some people ask me something and I'm able to give them the answer. And like I said, this is informative. It's educational. We're being engaged and encouraged at the same time. And those are things that I like seeing come out of Texas in Color because I haven't heard anything negative about it yet. If they haven't came and told me anything. Because um, once somebody told me this a long time ago, if people don't like what you're doing, 9 times out of 10 it's the truth, and the truth hurts.
I'm trying to tell you.
You know, so. Anyways, Sabrina, I appreciate you because you've been busy. You've been out in DC and
Oh
you,
my God.
you've probably been to Mars and we don't know about it yet.
No, not yet. We have voter registrations going on all over the county. You know, I'm in a Twin City, so got stuff going on in Texarkana, Texas. At the high school tomorrow, or no, Monday, I think is going to be on Texarkana, Arkansas at the high schools. So, got a lot of moving pieces. Helping folks in other counties because you know we are our brothers and sisters keeper. So it's a lot of stuff going on because we want people to at least be registered. So if they decide to get out their vote, they'll already be one step, you know, ahead of the game. So, you know, we got, faith without work is dead. So, we're about that work. Because we ain't going back.
No, we're not. We're not going back. All right. Well, thank you for taking the time out and talking to us. We appreciate everything that you're doing.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Okay. We'll talk to you later.
All righty. Take care.
All right. Thank you for watching Texas in Color. Please tune in every Wednesday at 11 a.m. And please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification button so you'll be notified each and every time we go on live.